Welcome in to episode 11 to Double OT with Mark and Yianni. I'm Yianni Caracas, riding back full strength after a week off. How was it solo last week?
It was tough. You thought I looked a little lonely. I did. I did look lonely. I was lonely, so it was good to see you.
When you were doing it, who would you envision yourself talking to?
I didn't really.
Kind of like when we anchor, you're just talking to the camera.
Yeah, it was pretty natural. I was okay.
All right, nice job on the solo one. All right, a lot to get to. The All-Star break, we taped this on a Tuesday night. First question, we start with the Red Sox as we are at the Midsummer Classic. Have the Red Sox met your expectations for what you thought they would do prior to the season?
Yes, they have. They have met the expectations that I had, at least in terms of record. Their record, if you told me what they would be and where they are right now, which is, 2 games out of first place in the AL East, at the All-Star break, that is basically exactly what I thought we would see. I thought they would be around there. What I did not expect was the offense to be this good and the pitching to be this suspect. I thought both would kind of come back towards the middle. So that's what I didn't expect. I did not expect to watch Mickey Mantle play for most of May in Jackie Bradley Jr. He was unbelievable. I didn't think that would happen. He carried the team. David Ortiz, we're going to get to him, unbelievable. So they have exceeded expectations. Pitching has underwhelmed, but as a result, we're right in the middle, which is pretty much where I thought they would be, flirting with the playoffs, not necessarily a lock, not a lock at all, but flirting and right there.
Yeah, if you asked me at the end of June, I would have said no because they had that awful month of June, but they've picked it up prior to the All-Star break, 49-38, so they're on pace for 91 wins. I think at the beginning of the season, we sat here and I said they would probably win 90, 91, 92 games. So like you said, I think they are where they should be. I didn't think the pitching would be this bad, as you mentioned, but Stephen Wright has been a welcome surprise. And I didn't think the offense would be this good. So I think those have been the surprises. And, of course, David Price not really performing to his $217 million contract. But if you told me April 1st at the All-Star break, 2 games out of first, I would have thought it'd be Toronto in first, not Baltimore. I would take it. I think for the foreseeable future, they'll be in the mix, hovering around that wild card 1, wild card 2, AL East top spot. So it'll make for an interesting stretch run here, and we'll have to see, of course, what they do at the trading deadline.
Betts, Bradley, and Bogarts, just insanely good.
Killer bees.
I don't think anybody thought they would be this good, so they have been a nice compliment to David Ortiz, who has been equally ridiculous. And speaking of David Ortiz, he is 40 years old. He has 22 home runs and 72 RBIs to go with a 330-something average. That would be a great season for a 40-year-old, and we're at the All-Star break. Given his numbers, should he continue to play and not retire?
I give him a 33% chance of coming back next year. I think it would be noble and honorable of him to go out on top. Very rarely in sports, Mark, do we see guys go out on top. I mean, guys in our generation, the best players, Griffey Jr., injuries struggled to the end. Jeter, he had a great last game, but he was not a very good all-star caliber player his last season. Cal Ripken struggled down the stretch. So there are examples in other sports, like a John Elway playing at the top of your game, going out on top. Obviously not Peyton Manning, to take a quick dig at him. So I think it's really great when players can go out at the top. If the Red Sox call him up and say $30 million for next year, will you come back? He has to think about that, right? He has to consider that.
Think about $30
the
million
other
for
question
next year
is, let's say they're at the trading deadline last year. He hasn't filed his retirement papers. Couldn't they call him up in mid-July and be like, hey, give us 250 at-bats the rest of the year. We'll pay you $15 million prorated. Get him in for the stretch run there. Because he's playing so well, I think there's a chance he'll come back. But I think it's 1 in 3 chance. And I think he's a little bit on borrowed time, though. Isn't he due for an injury, Mark? He's been injury-free for a couple years. So if I'm Ortiz, I go out on top and say, I've been lucky, and this is it.
Okay, so you would say, you gave me a lot of ifs there. You would say retire.
If I'm Ortiz, I retire. Okay. I think there's a 1 in 3 chance he comes back.
Okay, I agree that if they throw $30 million a year at him, he has to think about it. But at this stage, he has to retire. He's already said he's retiring. He went on the Players Tribune or whatever that was, video. I'm retiring. So he's had the whole retirement tour. You can't come back now. You already did that. We've already said goodbye. You've given your gift. You can't come back now. The numbers are great, but the other reason, in my opinion, that he should not come back, he's in a lose-lose situation, I think. Because if he continues to play, he comes back, he could get injured or he could start to decline with the stats. His numbers will not be as good. that's not the way to go out.
Right.
You know, you've got the good numbers now. You're 40. You might as well hold on to that. If he comes back and he's 41 and 42 and continues to put up these numbers, well, then the chatter starts. It starts because I almost want to start it because 41-year-olds aren't supposed to hit 45 home runs. They're just not supposed to. It's the only person that has done that, and I didn't look at all the stats, so maybe there's other. Barry Bonds was 40 or whatever he was, at 39, hit 45 home runs. He didn't even hit 40 home runs when he was 40. Barry Bonds, and we all know about the juice there.
It does a lot for your legendary status too. It's like it's like Nirvana or one of those bands who go Kurt Cobain, who goes too soon, and their legend grows because they didn't put out the subpar album after their height. So Ortiz goes out hitting 45 home runs, and you're like, that guy was crushing it till the end. Right?
He has to.
Favre cried at a press conference though and came back.
It's true, but I would say
so there is
you have to retire.
precedent for walking back with your tail between your legs. But speaking of the All-Star break, both of us are longtime fans of the Midsummer Classic. What are your favorite All-Star game memories over the years?
Well, the answer is, and I know you'll say it too, is Pedro Martinez. That is the only real All-Star memory that I can vividly remember going back a month ago, a year ago, onto YouTube and watching again. That is the one thing I remember going back to see because it was, remember, this was Sosa McGuire at the height of what they did.
Yep.
They had just come off the season where they hit the 70 home runs or whatever, 66 home runs. And Pedro, in Boston, dominated.
Mowed him
It was
down.
awesome. The other memory I'll say, and there's a few that are going through my head, I loved when Alex Rodriguez was shoving Cal Ripken over to the shortstop, and he hit the home run in his last All-Star game in Seattle. I think that was 2001. Two great memories there. And also, I'll throw one more. Barry Bonds getting robbed by Torrey Hunter in that All-Star game. That was a tie.
That was
Milwaukee. Good play. Good baseball play.
Top All-Star memory, probably the tie. No, I'm just kidding. That was brutal. 99 in Fenway, as you mentioned. I was just YouTubing this prior to coming on. Pedro struck out 5 of 6. Barry Larkin, Larry Walker, and then Sosa, McGuire, and then he got Bagwell on a strike him out, throw him out. 5 of 6 batters. And as you said, the height of the steroid era in Pedro. And that was the night Ted Williams came out in the wheelchair, so that was really special. I loved, I think this is early 90s, Randy Johnson threw at
1993.
John Kruk, and then Kruk put his helmet on backwards.
Great
that was pretty
memory.
funny. Both had like mullets at the time.
Right.
And a non-game won the Ken Griffey Jr. Warehouse, 93 in Camden Yards.
Oh, the home run derby.
Hitting the warehouse. Anything
talk all day about the
involving
home
Ken
run derby.
Griffey Jr.
Right.
So love the All-Star game.
Okay, so speaking of All-Star games, in my opinion, the NBA is due to come to Boston. I'd love to see the Celtics host an NBA All-Star game, considering that building isn't that old. We're still waiting on that. Celtics, though, busy this offseason. Some nice moves, some near misses. What do you grade them for the offseason so far?
All right, I'm giving them a B-. I like the Al Horford signing. He was one of the top free agents out there. He got the max deal. He solidifies their front line a little bit. I never thought they were getting Kevin Durant, so I'm not going to penalize them for missing on Durant. They lose Sullinger. They lose Evan Turner. I think both those guys are replaceable. The reason I don't give them an A is because I didn't like their draft. They had the 3 pick. They had 8 overall. And they get Jaylen Brown, a couple euros they're going to stash away, Ben Bentel, and traded the rest. I think they didn't cash in on the amount of leverage and currency they had in that position, so I didn't like their draft. But I think at the beginning of the offseason, if you said, hey, you'll get Al Horford, you'll lose Sullinger and Turner, and you get player X in the draft, I'd probably take it. It's a good sign they get Horford, a prominent free agent name, because it maybe paves the way for future guys to come to Boston.
I'm going to give them a B. I liked what they did. I hear you on the draft. Part of the draft analysis that I have is that what was there. Now, Chris Dunn has looked excellent in his early games in the Summer League, so that doesn't make me feel good because I wanted them to take Chris Dunn, and now he looks like the next Chris Paul. Now it's early, it's Summer League. People crushed me on Twitter the other day for getting too excited about 2 Summer League games. But somebody's got to be the next superstar point guard. Somebody's going to be. And it might be Chris Dunn.
Looked good.
So I love the Al Horford. Sure, that was a nice get. It was a step. It was progress. They got a big name free agent, and I love the effort that they gave towards getting Kevin Durant. Creativity. They were in the room, and I think actually Durant. You know, we talked about this last week. I think he thought about coming here. I don't know how close he was, but I think he thought about it. So I give them a B, and we'll see what happens with Jaylen Brown and some of these European players they drafted. Don't
Yabusele.
love it. Yeah, he was okay. He looks like he plays with some confidence at least. But it's hard to tell who will translate into an actual player in the summer league. But, Al Horford, a nice pickup. We'll see where they go from here. I never really thought they were going to get Kevin Durant, so I'm not going to get too upset over that. I think they get a B for now.
All right, staying in the NBA, one of the best players in the league's history retired this week, Tim Duncan, in appropriate Tim Duncan manner. No farewell tour, just a little press release. He hasn't even met with the media as we tape this. What are your lasting memories of Tim Duncan? How will he be remembered?
It's funny, when I saw the announcement that he was retired, that he was announcing his retirement, I immediately started to try to think of the favorite Tim Duncan memory. I was going to tweet it, whatever. And I'm like, what did he do?
Shot?
Like, what he had a bit, yeah, because he was always just so solid, so great. He was beyond solid. He was a great player, but just never anything flashy. He was just the teammate, the leader, the example, and you don't remember stuff like that. The teammates, I'm sure they do, but I don't. So my favorite memory, I tweeted, I loved his commercials. The one he had with Kevin Garnett was a great commercial. The David Robinson one early, but he had some big series against the Lakers. He was a 2-time MVP, so he obviously put up the numbers.
Yep.
But as far as that one memory, it's probably about the draft when the Celtics couldn't get him. And
all Celtics fans thinking, what if in 1997 they got Chauncey Billups and Ron Mercer. Best power forward ever. I think that's settled over Barkley, Malone, Kevin McHale, whoever else is out there. Probably the most unselfish superstar we've ever seen. As Greg Popovich was saying today, he didn't put on anything for the cameras. He wasn't a media hound. He just did his job. Coaches and players loved him, and he kept quiet. And I think legacy-wise, that hurts him because in 20 years, when we tell our grandkid, we're not old enough in 20 years. Let's see. So our daughters would have to be pregnant at 22. Yeah, maybe. All right, 30 years.
Yeah, we'd rather.
We're gonna think about Kobe and Shaq because they're flashy, and Garnett because we were Celtic fans, and then you're gonna be like, there was this really good guy, the big fundamental, who won 5 championships, 15-time AllStar, and he was great bank shot from the box. But like you said, there's not a lasting Tim Duncan memory, just so unbelievably consistent. I had a buddy at another previous station who's from San Antonio, and I think if you're from San Antonio, it's a little bit different. But for the rest of us, like when the Spurs were in the finals year after year, or every other year as it became routine, you're like, oh, great, it's the Spurs. They're not exciting. Like, I wish Kobe was doing 360 dunks in the lane. Now we have to see, Duncan hit a 18-footer for the next.
Bank shot, yeah.
Real quick. Underappreciated and undervalued, but awesome.
Who do you give the edge to? And maybe this question isn't a good one. Kevin Garnett or Tim Duncan?
Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the resume, five versus 1.
Kevin Garnett doesn't have the championships, but as a player, it's close. I think it's close.
Garnett's arguably a better defender. I don't know. Duncan was all defense every year.
I don't think Duncan was ever the defensive player of the year, though. Garnett has an MVP. I think it's close.
I think I give Duncan the edge, though.
So we'll have to wait and see. One thing about Tim Duncan that surprised me, golf's our next topic, right?
Yeah.
One thing about Tim Duncan that surprised me, no gold medal. And I thought
you're so hung up on gold medals.
I think that's I just think that's a nice little piece of a basketball resume. He played in 1 Olympics, won the bronze. Just surprising. He only played in 1 Olympics.
He wasn't on 2000 Athens.
2004 Athens.
2004 Athens.
Yeah.
Sydney, he wasn't on.
Nope, just one, I think that one year.
Swimmer. Grew up swimming.
Swimming. That's right.
He didn't lift weights. He just has a natural build.
Good long, lengthy body.
He's got stretch marks by his shoulders.
Enough. So speaking of the Olympics, golf has been a hot topic. It'll be in the Olympics for the first time in I don't even know how many years this year in Rio, but a lot of the top players have backed out because of various reasons. First and foremost, the Zika virus. Is the fact that some of the top players in the game, the fact that they're not going to the Olympics, is that bad for golf?
It's not bad for golf. It's bad for the Olympics. I think the Olympics would like to see Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day, all of whom won't be there. But golf, we care about, golf fans and golfers care about the 4 majors, as Rory McIlroy pretty much said today. And it's similar to tennis. There was tennis in the Olympics. No one's ever like, how many golds did Roger Federer win? You're like, no, Roger Federer won 18 Grand Slams or whatever it may be. The country club sports of tennis and golf have their own Olympics. They're the majors. Unlike track, swimming, gymnastics, where that is the ultimate step and place to get in your career. It's unfortunately not in golf and tennis, so it hurts the Rio Olympics. But are you clamoring to see Jason Day and Rory in the Olympics, or would you rather see them in the British Open this week?
I'd rather see them in the British Open.
Yeah.
But
historic courses, we've never seen golf in Rio. I'm sure they have an excellent course, but there's something about the Masters and St. Andrews and Pebble Beach where you like the course as much as the game.
Outside of, and maybe there's other smaller events, but outside of Team USA and the Ryder Cup, it is really the only event where you represent your country.
Sure.
So it shouldn't be bad for golf that these people, listen, these people who are saying no to the Olympics, these golfers, they're all young. Day, McIlroy, Spieth, okay? Girlfriends, fiancés. They're getting ready to get married. They're going to have more kids. What would Beth say if you were going to go down there? And well, we don't need to get into that, but
she'd say no.
That's right, and so would Jen. So I can't blame them at all because these people are thinking about their family. Is it going to hurt the golfing world, the Olympic Committee, and make them say, you know what, they didn't want to go, so we're not going to have golf in the 2024 Olympics? Get out. Well, that's just idiotic. Okay? These people are thinking about their spouses, their girlfriends, their future wives, and they don't want to go. They don't want to put their family at risk. Totally fine.
Also, the Olympics don't like people telling them they're too good for it.
No, they don't. So we had to mention real quick, Rory McIlroy made those comments, talked about how, first of all, he isn't golfing so he can grow the game. And second of all, how he probably won't even watch golf in the Olympics. Might watch the other events. Just to comment on those comments. I can understand why he said about he's not in it to grow the game. Fine. Respect to the game. I don't mind that comment. I can deal with that comment. The one that kind of was like, ooh, was the one where he said it doesn't matter and that he wasn't going to watch golf in the Olympics. He'll watch the events that matter.
Yeah.
Why did you have to say that? It's fine if you didn't want to grow the game. That was bad. People would have gotten on him enough for that. But I'm okay with that comment because that's not why he got into it. He should embrace the role. It's not the thing to say publicly, even if he doesn't think if that's what he thinks. Might not want to say that, but I'm okay with that. But you can't say what he said about.
It's nice that he was honest, though.
He was honest. And the other thing I understand with Rory, think about this. He was everybody asked him time and time again, who are you going to play for? Britain or Ireland? Because he's from Northern Ireland. So he qualifies for both.
That whole thing confuses me.
Confusing. He has torn, right? And had to basically isolate himself from a population there, a country that he identifies with. And so he had to do all of that, then back out because of Zika. So he had to it would have been easier if he just said, I'm not playing. I'm not deciding. I'm not choosing between the countries. So he's probably annoyed. And I don't blame him.
He's not feeling good about it. All right, we end on something that is all the rage on social media, Pokemon Go. We just learned about it a little bit today. Neither of us, I don't think, have played at this point. Will you engage this? What are your views on Pokemon Go?
There is a 0.00% chance I engage in this, and if you ever see me doing that, you can slap me with a glove.
Oh, man.
It just will not happen.
Hashtag real talk.
I am not going to bash Pokemon because I'm sure there's people who love this thing. But to me, this is a situation where there are adults walking around playing Game Boy. That's what you're doing. It's an app, so you can tell yourself it's on the phone. It's Game Boy. So if that's fine. I'm not going to play. If you're going to play Game Boy and you want to do that, you go play Game Boy.
What is the average age of the Pokemon Go player right now?
It's probably people who played
20s.
Pokemon when it was on Game Boy in the late 90s.
I won't be playing because I'm 31 years old, I have a kid, I have a full-time job, and I don't see myself wandering into parks looking for an imaginary creature. That being said, if you want to play or your friends want to play, that's great. Whatever you do, let's get people outside, let's get them active. Just don't get hit by a car.
Look.
Don't walk into a reservoir and drown. Don't fall off a cliff. And I saw on Facebook today, there was a prison or a local police jurisdiction who had to say, being serious, please don't come to our prison playing Pokemon Go.
Arlington National Cemetery had to do the same thing.
It's mayhem.
Have some respect. Pat, he didn't want us to say anything that would get us in trouble doing this show, so I'm not going to get too fired up over Pokemon.
Hey, if you want to play Pokemon Go, that's great for you. I don't think you or me are going to play.
It's
maybe
Game
we'll
Boy.
play within a couple weeks and come back here.
Can I just say one other thing? I'm all for reviving the inner child within or whatever, but it's Game Boy.
It's cool that socially, like, communities are getting involved. What if someone rolls up to your house at like 11 at night and is like, "Hey, sorry that I'm on your doorstep, but I got the Pokemon here."
Next
Uncomfortable, right?
That better not happen.
Johnny Villella plays.
Listen, if he wants to play this game, that is fine.
All right, we're going to end it on Pokemon. We like to do a kind of culture segment every week.
Sure.
This is a good one. It's so timely. Do you feel left out, though, that you don't play? Like, I don't Snapchat. It's the one social media thing I don't do. I'm like, do I need to Snapchat? I don't Snapchat. Should I be Snapchatting?
I mean, that's like asking me if I feel left out that I don't watch Bravo TV. No, I'm fine.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No, I would like to.
So when Shannon and Tim are screaming about it every Monday, you're just sit there?
Well, no, but I would like to do that because I'm into that, but I do not care about Pokemon. I don't care. I used to play a game called Donkey Kong.
Love Donkey Kong.
Okay. If maybe, I can't even see myself, if they had a game app come out, I'm not going to.
It's kind of like how people play Madden versus people in other cities, or what's the game with?
But Madden is at least. This is a little cartoon bunny or whatever he is. Like, I'm not, that's, it looks like something my daughter would want as a stuffed animal. And you're, whatever.
All right, that'll wrap things up on this edition of Double OT with Yianni Mark. Catch the full version on WPRI.com. Still waiting on that podcast on iTunes. We'll get Lee Dooley on that one.
It's coming soon. It's coming.
We'll see you next week. Have a good time.